Hello everyone. I think I'm audible.
Yes, Hanita, you are audible.
Okay. Myself, Hanita Raj, Chartered Accountant into practice since 2013. I warmly welcome all the participants and all the speakers for today's session. And the topic is Amnesty Scheme under GST. I feel the session is going to create more impact on all the participants. Before that, I would like to give brief introduction of our society. Rita, can you share the screen? It's AIWCAA, All Indigenous Women Chartered Accountant Association, and it is a registered society formed in December 2024. And our core team consists of Ankita Jainik Soni, President from Hyderabad. Vinita Nuti, she is a Vice President from Hyderabad. Leena Kosti, yes.
సెమినార్ ఒకటి ఉంది వర్క్ ఇన్ స్టేట్స్ లో పెట్టాను మీరు అలా జిఎస్టీ గురించి.
Can you please mute your... Ankita Jainik Soni is the president from Hyderabad. Vinita Nuti, she is vice president from Hyderabad. Leena Kosti, secretary from Gujarat. Dimple Dharmesh Sutar, treasurer from Rajasthan. Shobha Rani Raula, EC member, she is from Goa. Silver S. Pawar, EC member from United States. Myself, Anita Raj Peddi, I am also an executive member of this committee. The website number and contact number is provided in the next slide. And it is very easy to remember, 905-905-1949. And the moderator of today's session is CA Asha Lata. And the floor is now open to you, ma'am. Please take over.
Can anyone confirm whether I'm audible or not?
Yes.
Yes. So, thank you for a brief introduction of the organization. And now I'm going to proceed with the session. So, as we all know that we are here to discuss about the amnesty scheme, the recent amnesty scheme being introduced in the CGST Act via Section 128A. So, before getting into the amnesty scheme 128A, let us now see what is the major benefits or objectives behind implementing such sessions and the basic objective for introducing those sections. So as we all know that it's been around 7 years for GST introduced in India, and there have been many complexities of GST law. We see that frequent changes are being made in GST law day by day, and there are many interpretations and certain absurd provisions are also existing in GST law. And due to all this, many disputes are being arised and have rapidly increased over the past 7 years, which have actually impacted the businesses in significant manner. So in order to address the taxpayers' challenges in meeting the compliance deadlines, the government has introduced amnesty schemes to regularize the past non-compliances by waiving interest, penalty, or late fees for specified periods and for specified sections. So in this background, we also observed that there were previous several amnesty schemes being introduced to facilitate compliance, such as particularly for non-filers of GST returns or waiving of late fees for delayed filings or allowing the taxpayers to file their appeals beyond the time limit being specified in the Act. So many amnesty schemes were introduced like this. And notably, there were many other amnesty schemes being introduced in the erstwhile regime, such as service tax and previous regimes, such as Sabka Vikas Legacy Dispute Resolution Scheme 2019 we have, which is being introduced for Finance Act. So it has a motive for resolving pending service tax and central excise litigation. And other notable schemes are Kar Vivada Samdhana Scheme 1998 and Voluntary Disposal Encouragement Scheme, and many other schemes are there. So today our major focus is to understand what is the recent amnesty scheme being introduced in Section 128A. We have two speakers here, Garima and Rupalima. And before proceeding into the session, I would like to highlight that our entire session
Have we lost her? Not able to hear.
Hello.
Yes, Ashri, you are audible.
Can you also please share your screen?
Okay. Actually, I'm just posing the questions. Both the speakers will share the screens and they will proceed with the answers.
Okay.
Our session is designed with the question and answer format so that readers and participants can get maximum benefit out of the scheme. Rather than one-way presentation, we have designed it in a Q&A format. So we have both the speakers, Garima and Rupalima. I'm proceeding with them. So let's start with the applicability of the scheme, Section 128A. May I request Garima to share the screen?
Yes, I've shared the screen.
Yeah. So could you please first let us know what could be the benefit that this scheme is providing us?
Yes. Starting with the scheme provides us with benefits. The first benefit is of waiver in form of interest. And the second benefit is waiver in form of penalty. So supposingly we have a notice which is containing of interest, or it is containing of penalty, or it is containing of both. So after paying the tax component contained in that notice or order or statement, we will get the waiver of interest and penalty. So here the waiver is for interest, penalty, or both. And one point to note here is that it is only for the demands which are raised under Section 73. So if any demand is raised under Section 74, in which we say generally there is fraudulent intent is there, or misstatement is there, or evasion of tax is there, then the benefit would not be available. The scheme, we cannot opt for amnesty scheme. Now, I have just elaborated the demands under Section 73 for the different situations which will be covered. The first demand would be against show cause notice. So if my show cause notice has a demand under Section 73, then that would come here. Or if I have any statement under form DRC 02, which is being issued, then also that would be covered here. Next comes the order. So if I have any order by the adjudicating authority under Section 73(9), so supposingly after my show cause notice, an order comes and that order is not in my favor. So I want to go for an amnesty scheme. So can I opt for it? So the answer is yes, you can opt for it. Now supposingly show cause notice has been done, which is against me. Order has also come, which is against me. So now I have gone in appeal. And the appeal order has also gone against me. So the client comes and says, can I go for amnesty scheme? Now, since we know that GST in many states have not been incorporated, so if we have an appeal order, so can we opt for amnesty scheme? The answer is yes. If you have any appeal order also, so against that also, you can go for amnesty scheme. Now comes key for which years this benefit is available. So if I have any demand in 1718, if I have any demand in 1819, or if I have any demand in 1920, then the benefit is available for all the 3 years. So this scheme, amnesty scheme, has come for only 3 years. One is 1718, second is 1819, and next is 1920. Then there is one key.
I'm sorry for interruption. Can I ask one doubt? For all the viewers who are here, the Q&A part we will have in the last 10 minutes of this session. So that it is okay for, if you have questions, you can just note it down, and in last 10 minutes, we can quickly have the Q&A.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now, the important point here is ki, supposingly a notice, the tribunal, the appellate authority in appeal, initially the order which came was for under section 74. But when we filed appeal, the appellate authority said ki this should not be under 74. It should be under. So answer is yes, the amnesty scheme can be taken. So this is an exceptional case. Apart from 73, when the section says 73, so this case would also be covered. Ki where the initial order was under 74, but then the appellate authority or the tribunal or any court, they said ki no, the assessment should be done under 73. So those cases are also covered here. Section says 73, so this case would also be covered. Ki where the under 74.
Gariba, you're not audible now.
Key point to note is that interest or penalty or both, if they have been already deposited. Supposingly in a notice we say ki a client comes and says ki I've already deposited my interest element, I've already deposited my penalty. So now does amnesty scheme allows for refund also? So no, the answer is no, that no refund would be given. Now there is a question whether amnesty scheme would be available for demands under section 65. Now supposingly I have an audit going on, and then there comes a demand that yes, you have a demand under section 65. So can that demand be covered under amnesty scheme? The answer is no, that demand would not be covered. So if we have any audit notice, audit demand, so that would not be covered. Now supposingly I have an ASMT 10 demand. So if for ASMT 10 demand, it is asking for tax also, it is asking for interest and penalty also. So now the client comes and says ki, can we go for amnesty scheme in this scenario? So answer is no. It is specifically said that only 73 demands would be covered here. No demand other than 73 would be covered here. So next question, time for next question.
Someone is speaking. Can you please mute your speaker?
Asha ji, can you just put the next question?
Yes, Gariba. So, out of your first slide, we came to know that orders issued under section 73 are eligible for amnesty. What if notice is issued under section 74 that is alleging fraud, that benefit of scheme would cannot be availed by us? Can you please elaborate on this point?
Yes. If notice is issued under 74, then the benefit of amnesty scheme cannot be availed. The benefit cannot be availed. So basically, what is amnesty scheme? Amnesty scheme basically says ki if you have a genuine intent.
Please
Yes,
ask the
there was
others to
no
unmute, to
fraudulent
mute
intention.
themselves.
There was supposingly the basic objective of 73 was ki we should give benefit of waiver of interest and penalty only for those people who did not have any fraudulent intent, or there was no like willful misstatement was there. So here in 74, if the demand comes under 74, then the benefit of amnesty scheme would not be available. So if we see the question, so the benefit of this scheme, so does it mean that if notice is issued under 74 that is alleging fraud, the benefit of the scheme cannot be availed? So the answer is yes, the benefit of scheme cannot be availed if there is any fraudulent intention. However, section 74 deals with the cases ki where their intention is fraudulent, then it would not be eligible. Now, there is a question ki ABC Limited, if there is any tax demand of 15 lakhs in
However, Section 74 deals with a
or
GST
alleged fraudulent.
where
There's
their
an echo.
intention is fraudulent, then it would not be eligible. Now, there is a question.
Supposingly, ABC Limited receives a tax demand of 15 lakh rupees under Section 74 for fraudulent intent. However, appellate authority says ki this demand was correct and 74 should not have been there and there should have been 73. So, whether the appellant, where ABC Limited can avail the benefit of amnesty scheme, the answer is yes, ABC Limited can avail the benefit of this scheme. So if there is an order under 74, the appellate authority says ki this should have been assessed under 73. So yes, the benefit of amnesty scheme would be available in this case. Next question. You are not audible, Asha ji.
Further, we would also like to know, does it cover only the amount payable under notice or order, or also covers any self-assessed liability also? That is something that which the taxpayer has now identified and wants to pay.
So yes, if as per your question, ki if my client has assessed a self-assessed liability and that has not flown through 73. So now I just want to pay the tax. I do not want to pay the interest element. I do not want to pay the penalty element. So for that, I would say ki till date, those situations would not be covered under amnesty scheme, because amnesty scheme is very clearly worded ki the demand should flow through 73. So since if I have any self-assessed liability, so that would not be covered. We cannot avail the benefit of amnesty scheme in that case.
Okay.
Next.
So unless notice or order has been issued in Section 73, we can't avail the scheme
Yes.
benefit.
Yes.
Yeah. One more question we want to know from you. Is the amnesty scheme available for notices or orders issued for recovery of erroneous refund of amounts?
Yes, this is a very important aspect, and I would request all the listeners to just have a very strong, we should advise our clients on this. So basically, for erroneous refund, what they have come up with is ki we would not be giving you the benefit of waiver of interest and penalty for erroneous refund, but we expect you ki if a notice contains 4 issues and one issue is erroneous refund, you have to pay the tax amount of the erroneous refund also, even though you are not getting the benefit of it. So I would just elaborate it through an example. So the erroneous refund is not covered under amnesty scheme. If I have a notice in which the demand is because I have given an erroneous refund, so waiver of interest and penalty is not applicable in that case. One thing is this. Then I have an example ki supposingly ABC Limited has filed its GST returns late, but later received a notice under 73 for short payment described as below, that there was a short payment on tax amount of 5 lakh rupees. There was an erroneous refund of 1 lakh rupees and the total tax demand was 6 lakh rupees. Now the question comes ki if I want to avail the amnesty benefit, so how much amount should I pay? One side you are saying ki erroneous refund ka benefit would not be available. The second side, as per amnesty scheme circular 238, it is very clearly worded कि if you want to avail the benefit of interest and penalty waiver, then you would have to pay the entire tax amount of 6 lakh rupees. But the refund, the waiver would only be for the interest and penalty amount which is levied on the tax component of 5 lakh rupees. It would not be available for the erroneous refund component. So this is a very important aspect. Interest and penalty other than erroneous refund would be waived off, but for erroneous refund it would not be waived off. Next question.
Thank you, Garima. I would like to pose few questions to Rupali ma'am regarding the important dates under the amnesty scheme. Rupali ma'am, are you able to hear me? So, after understanding the brief applicability of the scheme and the benefits we are getting from the amnesty scheme, let us now proceed to understand the important dates that are available under the amnesty scheme. So, my first question to you, Rupali ma'am, is we all understand that the scheme would be effective from 1st November. So, already the 1st November is completed. So, there is another date being given under amnesty scheme, that is 31st March 2025. We would like to know what is the relevance of this date and what has to be done by the taxpayers by 31st March 2025, so that the benefit of the scheme can be availed by the taxpayers. Could you please throw some light on this question, ma'am? You're not audible, I guess, ma'am. You have to unmute your speaker.
Yeah,
Yes, you're audible now.
yeah. Everyone is able to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And a very nice explanation on the applicability part, Garima.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Coming to the relevance of this 31st of March, Asha ji, as you rightly said, this scheme has been made effective and notified from 1st of November 2024. And the importance of 31st of March 2025 is given later, and it is very important because the tax amount which has to be paid in order to avail the scheme actually will have to be done by 31st of March. So anyone who wants to file the forms and a later procedure has to be followed post payment of tax. And this tax has to be paid by 31st of March 2025. So that is the significance of this date.
Okay. So, wherever we want to avail the benefit of this scheme, we have to make all the tax payments by this date, 31st March 2025.
Yes.
So, our next question to you is, ma'am, what would be the situation if the department issues notice or statement of 31st March 2025, say for the period up to March 2020 only?
Yeah. So in case, see, as Garima has already explained, that this scheme is open for the notices which were issued earlier for the period, for the tax period starting from 1st July 2017, that is for financial year 17-18, 18-19, and 19-20. So only these 3 years are covered and rest all years are not covered. And that is also, the scheme is open only for the notices issued under section 73 and the assessments which are done under section 73 only. And if we take a look at the limitation period for issuance of notice for these 3 years, we can see that the limitation period for 17-18 was over by 30th of September 2023. And for 18-19, it was time barred by 31st of January 2024. And for 19-20, the notices could have been issued by department under section 73 up to 31st of May 2024 only. So no notice can be actually issued for this period as of now or even after 31st of March 2025. The notice itself will be time barred and will not be a valid notice.
Yes, ma'am. So we understood that for the first 3 financial years, time limits for issuing fresh notices have already expired.
Yes.
So if any notice is false issued also, it would be time barred and won't have any legal stand.
Yes.
Yes. So I would like to request Garima to help us with few questions.
Yes.
Having understood the applicability and dates also, now we would like to know about the types of notices or orders being covered under this amnesty scheme. So in this regard, my first question to you is, as you already said that the scheme also allows the benefit in case of statements also. So could you please help us to know what is this statement called? and whether this benefit would be allowed for any communication also where the department issues, so or not merely only for notices and notice.
Yes. So, covering the third part of types of notices and orders, as rightly asked, ki when we say ki there is a statement, so what do we mean by a statement? So basically, here the term statement is the statement which has been issued by the department under Section 73(3). So we know that generally for if any show cause notice has been issued which is covering 4 points, and for another year the same points are there, so department, instead of giving a detailed notice, they are preferring issuing a statement.
You're not audible, Garima. Garima, are you there? Neeta?
I think internet connectivity issue. Can we proceed with Rupali, ma'am?
Yes. Rupali ma'am?
Yes.
Yes. I would like to proceed with the procedure now. What has to be followed in this amnesty scheme? So, could you please let us know what could be the procedure to be followed for filing under the amnesty scheme?
Yeah. Before that, shall we also take up actually one question as to if the tax is already paid, what can be done? Shall we just do that and then we get into the procedure part?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, sure.
And is my presentation visible to you all?
Yes, it is visible, ma'am. You can proceed.
Yeah. In case the tax is already paid, okay, then in that case, this benefit is still available to the assessee. Okay, what they need to do is this tax, while we usually pay the demand tax through DRC 03, then they will have to link the tax payment already made to the respective order towards which we would like to file this application. And this linking can be done by filing DRC 03A, which is specifically notified for this purpose. And once this linking is done, then to that respective order or to that notice, then it would be considered by department as tax already paid. And then benefit under this amnesty scheme will be available to such assessees. Thereafter, these forms will have to be filed, and we will get into the detailed procedure hereafter. And another point which needs to be noted is if the interest and penalty are also paid upon the earlier notices or the orders, then those will not be refunded by the department.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So having said that, I just get into the procedure part. For getting the benefit under this amnesty scheme, as we have said, the first prerequisite would be payment of tax. which has to be done by 31st of March 2025. And thereafter, there are certain forms which are notified by the department in order to avail this scheme. And the first form is GST SPL 01. So this form needs to be filed wherever the notice, whatever is the proceeding initiated by the department is at notice stage, or it is at a statement stage, and no order is yet passed by the proper officer. So then the requisite form would be GST SPL 01. And if the proceeding is already concluded, that is, the order is already issued under section 73 of 9, or even and the appeal is filed by the assessee, and the appeal is not disposed of, or even suppose the appeal is disposed of and we are before the next appellate authorities, then in such cases, the form which has to be filed by the assessee would be GST SPL 02. So what we need to remember is wherever we are before the department under any proceeding at notice or statement stage, then it is SPL 1. And wherever we are before any appellate authority, be it the first appellate authority or the second appellate authority, or even before High Court or Supreme Court, then the only form which has to be filed is SPL 02. Am I clear on the forms, Ashaji?
Yes, ma'am, you are very clear. Yes.
Yeah. Then once these forms are filed, then how the processing would be undertaken by the department is as follows. Suppose the proper officer is satisfied or no action is taken by them within 3 months of date of filing of our form. Okay. Then in that case, GST SPL 05 order will be passed by them. That is approving our application, and thereby whatever interest and penalty was payable will no longer be payable. And that actually calls for the conclusion of these proceedings. In case we were before any appellate authority, and while we have availed this scheme and the order gets passed by the appellate authority enhancing our tax liability, in that case, within 3 months, that additional tax amount also will have to be paid and deposited by the assessee in order to avail this scheme. And once the tax amount is paid within 3 months from the date of receipt of the order by the appellate authority, that will actually be the deemed conclusion of these proceedings. That is, this litigation will come to an end and the assessee would just be done with the payment of the tax liability, and the interest and penalty will no longer be payable. In case it is not paid, the only basic tax was paid, but the additional tax amount which was determined by the appellate authority is not paid. In that case, whatever is the GST SPL 05, if suppose by that date it is issued or 06 is issued, that will be deemed to be void by the department, and those proceedings would be continued. In case the proper officer is not satisfied, that is at the initial stage, once we have filed SPL 01 or SPL 02, and the proper officer finds that there are certain lacunae in the application file, or he basically is of the opinion that we do not qualify, the assessee doesn't qualify under the scheme, and he wants to reject the application. In that case, he needs to issue a show cause notice in form GST SPL 03. And the time limit to issue this is within 3 months from the date of filing of our original forms, either 1 or 2. And once we receive this SCN, in that case, the assessee will have to reply within 1 month in GST SPL 04 format, which is specifically mentioned for this purpose. If the proper officer is satisfied with the reply, because earlier his opinion was that the assessee does not qualify for this scheme. But suppose with the reply filed by the assessee, as well as with the documents and all which are provided by the assessee, if the proper officer gets satisfied at this stage, even in that case, it leads to issuance of GST SPL 05, which is again conclusion of these proceedings, and the benefit under this scheme would be given. In case the proper officer is not satisfied, then in that case, within 3 months from the date of receipt of the reply, a rejection order will be issued, and the rejection order will be issued in GST SPL 07. That is in case the reply was filed to the show cause notice by the assessee. In case no reply is filed from within 1 month from the date of issuance of the SCN, in that case also within 4 months of the issuance of the SCN, the proper officer can issue a rejection order in SPL 07. In that case, again, the benefit under this scheme will not be given to that assessee. So this is the procedure and the processing part. So let us also see, in case we receive a rejection order and we would like to file an appeal against this GST SPL 07, and even in that case, an appellate actually authority has been given certain procedure, and this SPL 07 is an appealable order. If the assessee chooses to file an appeal against this SPL 07 and the appellate authority holds that the proper officer has wrongly rejected, the assessee is eligible under this scheme, in that case also, the order in form GST SPL 06 will be issued by the appellate authority, giving the benefit under the amnesty scheme. So assessee will have the benefit of waiver. But in case the appellate authority holds that the proper officer was right, the reasons mentioned over there are correct, and the assessee is not eligible to get this benefit, and the appellate authority also holds that, then they will be issuing an order, appellate order in form APL 04. Once the rejection order actually is received, then the original appeal, because we have just seen that any assessee who is before appellate authority can also file SPL 02 and come under the waiver scheme. And in that case, they would have withdrawn the earlier appeal, the original appeal against the order which they had received under section 73 of 9. Then in that case, that original appeal shall be restored. But in order to have that restoration back, they will also have to file an undertaking under SPL 08, stating that they will not be further appealing against this order. So one benefit which we can see under this entire scheme is that you can either actually file under and then check out if you are eligible under this waiver. If the interest portion and penalty portion is high, in that case, you can just try and then get the benefit under this. In case no benefit is given, we receive a rejection order, then the original appeal which was filed, then that gets restored. So the appeal or that litigation, that benefit is not taken away. And if the assessee chooses not to file any appeal against this SPL 07, in that case also the original order, the original one gets the original appeal gets restored. So let us just have a small recapitulation, because there are so many forms. So GST SPL 01 we said is the waiver application for notices or the statements under section 73 of 1 or 73 of 3. So wherein we are still at a show cause notice level before the proper officer and no order is passed. In that case, it is SPL 01. And in case the order is passed and we are before any appellate authority, in that case, the relevant form which has to be filed would be GST SPL 02. This is the application for demand orders pending in appeal. And the deadline for filing any of this form is June 30th. So the forms are available in the portal now. Anyone who has paid the taxes and would like to file the form, they can go ahead and do so. But the last date for filing these forms is 30th of June 2025. And an exception has been carved out, stating that the 74 cases wherein are brought under section 73 by appellate authorities, even such cases would also qualify for a waiver of interest and penalty by opting for amnesty scheme. For such cases, the time limit would be 6 months from the date of receipt of such appellate order. Otherwise, for all other cases, the deadline to file this form is 30th of June 2025. These forms are quite simple forms, and the required documents are also simple ones only. like your self-attested notice or statement will have to be given. The form is quite self-explanatory form, wherein all the notices which are received or the orders which are received by the assessee will get auto-populated once we initiate filing of this form. From that, we can take a drop down and we can select the relevant order or the show cause notice against which we are looking to file this form. And we also need to attach a self-attested notice or statement or the order copy. We also need to provide the tax payment proof, which is done, the tax payment would be done under DRC 03. And if we have done the linking part, then even 03A will have to be given. And in case we are filing SPL 02 and we are already before any appellate authority, in that case, we will have to withdraw that appeal. And we will have to provide that appeal withdrawal order if we have already received the order from the appellate authority. In case we would like to file this form and we still did not receive the withdrawal order, in that case, we can just file the form by attaching a letter stating that we have already made an application before the appellate authority that we would like to withdraw the appeal, and such letter can be filed. Once the appellate authority issues an order, then within 1 month from the date of receipt of such order, we will have to even upload that order copy in the portal. And any other document which you wish to rely upon, even that option has been given in the portal, and such document also can be attached along with these forms. Review and response from the department would be provided in GST SPL 03. As we have seen, the department would be issuing a show cause notice wherever they feel that the application is ineligible or they want further information and all, to which we need to reply in GST SPL 04, and this response must be submitted within 1 month of time. After which the proper officer will definitely work upon that application and they will be issuing the order to us, either a rejection order or an acceptance order. In case there is no show cause notice issued to us and we are receiving an approval, then such approval would be received within 3 months. And without show cause notice also, in case a show cause notice is issued, then in that case, the decision would be conveyed to us within 3 months or of reply, or 4 months if we don't reply. And we need to bear in mind that the rule 164 is very clear that the show cause notice is to be given by the proper officer only where they are of the opinion that the form is bound to be rejected. But definitely an opportunity is given to the assessee of being heard by submitting their response. And at response level also, if the proper officer is satisfied, then the benefit under this scheme would be given. SPL 05 typically is the format for providing the approval order wherein the waiver is granted. SPL 07 is the rejection order. Usually these may arise due to incomplete payments or if anyone misses this 31st of March due date or in late submissions and such cases. SPL 06 is the reversal of rejection, which is typically done by the appellate authority, and then the appellate authority allows the waiver in case the original application was rejected by the proper officer. And SPL 08 is the undertaking in case the appellate authority upholds the rejection and the assessee wants the original appeal to be restored back. And definitely the further legal recourse would be available to such assessee. Yeah, with this, we actually have come to an end of the entire procedure of this scheme.
The entire procedure has been well designed in a flowchart format. It enables us to understand very clearly. And one more question which left in our brains is how payment should be made, ma'am. Whether it could be made through cash or credit ledger, how it would be allowed.
Yeah, definitely. So the payment actually it can be made either through cash ledger or through credit ledger. by using the credit also the payment can be done, and only 3 exceptions are provided for this rule. That is wherever the demand is arising on account of reverse charge mechanism, which we all know that reverse charge mechanism liability will have to be discharged in cash only. So here also they expect that that payment is done through cash ledger, or in case it is a demand wherein an e-commerce operator will have to pay it, then in that case also it will have to be discharged through cash ledger. Or if any erroneous refund cases are there, which are not eligible under the scheme, but suppose if the show cause notice or the order has such component, then even in that case, that liability will have to be discharged in cash. Barring these 3 cases, all other liabilities can be discharged through by utilization of electronic credit ledger also.
Yes, ma'am. We understood that payment can be made by both the credit and cash. However, there are certain exceptions for using cash. Yes. I would like to ask Garima a few questions on the part of what kind of notices and orders are covered in this amnesty scheme. In continuation to that, I would like to ask, say Garima, there are 4 issues for the period. Whether any option would be given to me to avail the benefit of the scheme only for one issue and proceed to appeal or proceedings for other 3 issues. Can I do that? You're on mute, Garima. Yes.
Supposingly, we have a notice in which there are 4 issues, and the taxpayer wants to go for like he wants ki by I will pay the tax for one issue. I'm agreeing with one issue. I will pay the tax and go for amnesty benefit. But for rest of the 3 issues, the taxpayer says ki these do not belong to me, and I will prefer an appeal. So amnesty scheme clearly says ki this option is not available. You have to pay the entire tax demand on all the 4 issues which are mentioned in the notice, for which you have to go for the amnesty benefit. So as that can be seen here, there is no partial settlement under the amnesty scheme is permitted. Then comes the benefit of this scheme will be available only when the entire tax demand of all the 4 issues has been paid. This is very much clear in the circular. Now, I'll just explain it through example in which supposingly there are 4 issues. One is on account of short payment of GST of 5 lakh rupees, wrongful availment of ITC of 3 lakh rupees, non-payment on reverse charge 2 lakh, and delayed filing of 3B 50,000 rupees. So basically, XYZ Limited, it wants to settle the wrongful availment of ITC of 3 lakh rupees, and for the rest of the 3 issues, it is not agreeing to it. So, what option is available? So, in this case, the benefit of amnesty would be available only when the taxpayer is agreeing to pay the tax demand on account of all the 4 issues. There is no partial settlement the option of partial settlement is not there. So the answer would be that the partial settlement is not allowed. The final outcome would be that the company would have to pay the tax demand on account of all the 4 issues. That is entire 10,50,000 has to be paid to avail the benefit of waiver of interest, penalty, or both.
So actually the act is compelling us to pay for other issues also, which are otherwise contested.
Yes.
One more question I would like to ask you is, what if the notice order includes period before 2020 and period after 2020 also?
Okay.
Again, the partial availment
If there are multiple periods, then also I will just elaborate through an example. I'll just go through an example. For this also, I will just elaborate through an example as is visible on my screen. So if my notice has come for multiple periods, and in that the period covered is 2020, and we all know that for 2021, the benefit of amnesty scheme is not available. So in that case, what has to be done by the taxpayer? Now, supposingly, there is 17-18, there is a demand of 5 lakh rupees, 18-19, there is demand of 7.5, and 2021, there is demand of 6 lakh rupees. So amnesty scheme again says that if you want to avail the benefit for 17-18 and 18-19, then you will have to pay the tax demand of 2021 also. So it is very harsh on the end of the taxpayers कि you are not allowing us the benefit waiver of interest and penalty for 2021. But you are asking us to pay the tax for 2021 now only, even for to avail the benefit for 1718 and 1819. So the answer is that the taxpayer would have to pay the tax period for would have to pay the tax for 1718, 1819, 2021. All the three parts have to be paid, but the waiver component would be available only for the interest and penalty, which is levied for 1718 and 1819. The waiver would not be available for 2021.
Understood, Garima. So the next question is in a form of a scenario. Say taxpayer has got an order and he has already paid the entire applicable taxes along with interest and penalty, and he has not proceeded with for any appeal. And the time limit for filing the appeal is also lapsed as per the provisions of the Act. So now, whether is there any way for me to take a benefit of the scheme? Is it possible now?
So in your question, since the taxpayer has paid tax, the taxpayer has paid interest, the taxpayer has paid penalty, all the three things have been available. So what benefit he is seeking? He's just seeking for whether any refund would be available in this case. So amnesty is very clear ki if you have already paid all your demands, all your interest and penalty, then no refund would be available. So if we see in this example that supposingly XYZ Private Limited, just XYZ Private Limited, they have paid the demand 10 lakh rupees they've paid in tax amount along with interest and penalty of 2 lakh rupees, and the company has paid the entire amount of 12 lakh rupees without filing an appeal against the order, and the time limit for filing the appeal has also lapsed. So can I avail the benefit of amnesty? So it is basically ki if there is no pending liability, then the benefit of amnesty cannot be availed. The scheme does not allow for any benefit in this scenario.
Yes, understood. Garima. So in the question, we would like to pose you is, say have received a notice for payment of late fees alone. No demand for interest, penalty or taxes. Only demand is for late fees. Can I take the benefit of this amnesty scheme for late fees waiver?
The circular which came for amnesty scheme, it was very clear कि if it is on account of late fees, then we would not be giving you the benefit of amnesty scheme, because basically the government here does not want to promote the delayed in filing of returns. So they have said कि if it is on account of late fees, then the waiver would not be available. It is only for interest and penalties under Section 73.
Garima, what if the notice or demand has been issued only for recovering the interest amount? There is no taxes or penalty.
Yes, if it is only on account of interest, then also the waiver is available in the amnesty scheme. Now, supposingly, I've already paid my tax. Okay, but then in a case interest was leviable, but I said कि ठीक है notice आएगा तब देख लेंगे interest को pay करना है नहीं करना है. Now my 73 notice is coming only for demanding interest. So yes, I can opt for amnesty scheme in this scenario. The circular 238 clearly says कि if your 73 notice it contains only interest, it contains only penalty or both, then the waiver is available. So supposingly, I have paid the entire liability. However, due to delay in payment of tax, the department has issued notice under 73. So in this case, I can avail the benefit of amnesty scheme.
Okay. So another situation also arises, Garima, where the notice or order is demanding taxes amount along with demand for erroneous refund also. Whether that notice would be eligible for this amnesty scheme?
I have discussed in my previous part.
Right.
For earnest refund, we have given an example, detailed example. I would just go back to that example also again. If my notice contains 4 issues and the 5th issue is on account of earnest refund, then whether this benefit would be available. So it is clear, government says ki earnest refund, we are not giving you any benefit, but in the notice, if you have 5 issues and one is on account of earnest refund, then you have to pay the entire amount of earnest refund also, but we will not be giving any waiver on account of earnest refund. So partial settlement is not there. Earnest refunds are not covered under amnesty scheme. Rupali ma'am has also emphasized on this where the cash payments have to be done. So in this case, on account of earnest refund, we will have to make the payment also in form of cash. This is an important point here, which I am correlating with what Rupali ma'am said. Supposingly there are 4 issues and there is short payment of tax 5 lakh rupees and earnest refund on 1 lakh rupees. So 5 lakh rupees can be set off with ITC. But for earnest refund, that will be paid in cash only. One thing is this. The second thing is the amnesty benefit would not be available on account of earnest refund. It would be only available on account of other issues.
Yes, understood, Garima. So I would like to put in the scenario before you. Say I have received a notice, which one of the issues is regarding the time limit for availing the credit up to 2021. As we all know that the time limit for availing credit was extended up to 30th November 2021 for period up to 2021. So if one of the issues raised in the notice or demand demand order is regarding time limit, whether I would be compelled to reverse the ITC or whether I can proceed to take this benefit for all other issues, ignoring this ITC reversal.
So here, the amnesty scheme is favorable for taxpayers. Now, if I am having, we all know that the time limit was extended to 30th November 2021 for availing the credit. Now, if my notice contains a tax demand on account of ITC, and that is only covered under 16.5, 16.6, then the amnesty scheme says ki do not pay on account of this ITC, which is on account of 16.5, 16.6. You pay the balance. You do not have to pay the amount which is pertaining to ITC. So it is ki if the ITC was claimed within the extended time limit, and we are very clear ki we have rightfully claimed it, then we will not have to, we are not required to pay. We will pay the rest of the demands raised in the notice, and we will avail the benefit of amnesty scheme. So I am correlating it with a question ki supposingly ABC Limited claimed ITC for financial year 2021 in December 21 exceeding the 30th November 21 deadline under section 16.4. So whether the benefit would be allowed. So in this case, it is very clear that ITC was denied only for 16.4. Deduction under 16, 16.5 and 16.6 would be allowed if it is claimed within the timeline. So if my notice has 4 issues and 3 issues are pertaining to other than ITC, one is pertaining to ITC, and the ITC has been claimed in a time limit within the given time frame. So out of all the demands, just reduce the component of ITC and pay the rest of the 3 demands. The benefit of amnesty scheme would be given.
Okay. So further, I have another question for you, Garima. Say, without proceeding to file a SCN reply against SCN or appeal against order being issued by the taxpayer, what if the taxpayer has proceeded to file a writ petition before the Honorable High Court directly? So whether yes, amnesty scheme would be available for such cases also or not? We would like to know that.
Yes, supposingly at present my scenario is ki for a client we have filed an appeal in High Court or Supreme Court, and we are not very sure about the outcome, and the amounts involved are very huge. So the taxpayer wants ki we should opt for the benefit of amnesty scheme So amnesty scheme is again in favor of taxpayers in this case. They say ki yes, if you are at present in writ petition before Supreme Court or High Court, you can avail the benefit of amnesty scheme. But for that, one thing that has to be done is that writ petition has to be withdrawn. So to avail the benefit under amnesty scheme, we will be withdrawing the writ petition. And as Rupali ma'am has said, ki when we file the amnesty scheme application, then for that we have to give the supportings. So the supporting in form of proof of withdrawal is also to be attached. So yes, for the amnesty scheme, the writ petition, if we have filed any writ petition, the writ petition has to be withdrawn, and the proof of withdrawal is also required to be given.
Yes. And also, I would like to know from you, Garima, is whether the scheme would be applicable for the notice or order demanding on IGST on imports.
As per the circular 238, if there is demand on account of IGST and IGST is on account of imports, then benefit of amnesty scheme will not be available. But then there are many judgments which say ki IGST under the Customs Act that is covered here only. So like representations can be made where it can be said ki these demands, the benefit of amnesty should be given in these scenarios, because there are favorable judgments which say ki the IGST which is demanded for imports, that is not covered under the Customs Act, that is covered here under IGST Act only. So as per circular, we cannot avail the benefit of amnesty scheme, but then we suggest for the representations that they should also be covered under amnesty scheme.
Further, as this restriction is not specifically coming from Act or rules, again we can take that as ground. Circulars cannot go beyond the
Yes,
Act.
yes.
One more question I would like to put forward is, say audit proceedings have been conducted for one taxpayer and audit notice has been received and audit report is also concluded. However, no notice has been issued yet by the department. Whether the demand raised in respect of those audit paragraphs in amnesty scheme can be extended to that also or not?
As per the amnesty scheme, the benefit is available only when the things fall under 73. Means the SN has been issued under 73 or there is an order under 73. Now, when we talk about audit, we know that that is being covered under section 65. So only the audit paragraph, if not converted into 73, then those will not be covered for the benefit of amnesty scheme. So the
Yes.
audit para alone would not be a sufficient thing to say that we are going under amnesty scheme. That would not be, the benefit of the scheme would not be available in this case.
Right. So 73 notice or order should be at first place for us
Yes.
to avail the benefit.
Yes.
Yes. I would also like to know from you, wherever vehicles are detained for e-way compliances, so whether amnesty scheme could be extended to such cases also, where penalty is being levied.
As per amnesty scheme, generally e-way bill, when we say the detention is done under section 129. So the amnesty scheme does not allow for waiver for penalties under 129. It allows for waiver of penalty under 122, 125. So if my vehicle detention is done under e-way bill, then the benefit of amnesty scheme would not be available.
Another question before you, Garima. What if the taxes were already paid by the taxpayer? Can we take the benefit of this scheme?
Yes, if the tax is already paid by the taxpayer. In case the notice is issued for interest and penalty, then the benefit would be available to us. But if no notice is there under 73, then we cannot ask for the waiver of interest or penalty. So we have to find out whether interest or penalty has been rightfully paid, whether 73 has been issued or not. But if tax is paid and 73 is issued for interest and penalty, then amnesty scheme benefit will be available.
Right. And one more last question. Can I also take the benefit of this scheme and also proceed to continue the appeal proceedings before the appellate authorities? Can I take both the benefits simultaneously?
No, it is very clear if we are planning, we have to be planning to avail the benefit of amnesty scheme. Supposingly, at present, I am having an appeal with the appellate authorities. Now, I see amnesty scheme. So the taxpayer says कि आप amnesty scheme का benefit ले लीजिए. So what amnesty scheme says कि first we have to withdraw the appeal, which is going on with the appellate authorities, and then only we can offer amnesty scheme. And when we will fill the application of amnesty scheme, in that application we will have to attach a proof that we have withdrawn our appeal, and then only we are filing the amnesty application. So it is basically two things cannot go simultaneously, that we are applying for amnesty benefit also and we are fighting in appeal also. That thing cannot be done.
Yes. So based on merits and contestable issues or not, we need to decide whether to take this benefit or contest by on appeal proceedings.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah.
Thank you, Garima, and thank you, Rupali ma'am. Such a beautiful session, and with you both have used many flowcharts and examples to make us understand the scheme, applicability, procedure, and everything very clearly. I think audience, everyone has understood in letter and spirit. So, can I request to able the chat so that I can see the questions?
We request our audience that if they have any questions, they can just put them in chat. One by one, the questions will be taken up.
Yes, Harika, you have a query, it seems. Rakesh has also posed one question. Appellate authority has passed the order. Can we go for amnesty scheme? Garima, can you take up this question?
Yes, Rakesh ji, addressing to your question that if you have an order which is passed by the appellate authority, then definitely you can opt for the amnesty scheme. This benefit is available. These orders are clearly covered.
Rakesh ji also extended his question. If yes, in which form that application needs to be filed?
Yes, covering it. There are two forms for amnesty. One is SPL 01, one is SPL 02. So, Rakesh ji, your case where an order has come from the appellate authority, that will be filed under SPL 02.
Roshali ji is asking to explain the refund example again, erroneous refund example again.
NS refund example. Okay, sure. I will cater to Roshali ji's question. So basically, I'll just re-elaborate that example. I have in a notice, I have two issues. One issue is supposingly कि I have a short paid tax on account of HSL mismatch. The demand is 1 lakh rupees. On account of erroneous refund, that refund is being mistakenly given to me on of ITC. So there is another demand of 5 lakh rupees. So there are two issues in my show cause notice under 73, totaling to 6 lakh rupees. Erroneous refund 5 lakh rupees and short payment of tax 1 lakh rupees. Now, amnesty scheme says कि I will give you waiver of interest and penalty demanded in the notice. But amnesty scheme also says कि if the issue is erroneous refund, I will not give you the waiver of interest and penalty. Now, I say ki if as a taxpayer, you are giving me the benefit of only interest and penalty, and if my notice is containing two issues, one is short payment, one is earnest refund, then I will not get the waiver of interest and penalty on account of earnest refund. So basically, what will be there? I will file an application in which I will say that I am paying the entire tax of 6 lakh rupees. So after the application, what benefit I will get is that my interest in waiver on account of short payment of tax of 1 lakh rupees, that will be waived off. But my interest and penalty on account of erroneous refund of 5 lakh rupees will still stand. So this is how the things will go. I will not get the entire waiver. I will not get the entire waiver. I will not get the waiver of interest and penalty on account of fairness refund. It will still stand. I hope, Roshali ji, it is now clear.
So while making the payment for erroneous refund, we need to make payment tax, interest and penalty towards erroneous refund also.
Yes, basically, yes, the waiver would not be given for that. We will see 128 days. 128A says you have to pay the tax to avail the benefit of amnesty scheme. So in this case, tax has to be paid off both the issues, but the waiver would be given only for interest and penalty of issue 1. It would not be given for waiver of interest and penalty would not be given for erroneous refund.
And we will proceed with the next question. Is posed by Balaji. He's asking, what if in SN only penalty is demanded? Can we apply for waiver of penalty in that case?
Rupali ma'am, would you like to answer?
Yes, in case a show cause notice is issued wherein only penalty is demanded, because this amnesty scheme actually is eligible for waiver of interest and penalty. This scheme can be availed and we can apply for waiver of penalty.
Yes, ma'am. The next question is by Sudha Allah. He's asking, if appeal is withdrawn, what happens to the amount deposited at the time of appeal? He's basically asking about the pre-deposit made while filing the appeal.
Yeah, very nice question actually, Sudhaji. Yeah. So what happens is when we file an appeal, we will be doing there is a prerequisite of deposit of tax of around 10%. So yes, though this is not told anywhere and clarified in the circular number 238 or 128A, but because we are withdrawing the appeal, so definitely going by the logical flow, we should be eligible to claim a refund of that pre-deposit. Because here, while we are making an application under the amnesty scheme, we are making the full payment of tax. So whatever is the earlier payment of tax, that amount either should come back to us, or because that amount is also paid by DRC 03, then we should be able to link that amount. But definitely department would consider that, and there will not be excess payment of tax at least.
Yes, well answered, ma'am. Ushaji is asking a question. Can RCM tax paid under amnesty scheme, for the RCM liability paid under amnesty scheme, whether the recipient can take that ITC?
Yeah, this question is not very clear. See, because we are talking about the show cause notices or even orders. Okay, so in case this scheme is given for a limited purpose of waiver of interest and penalty, and definitely is not giving any benefit of ITC. So for reverse charge mechanism, whatever are the rules which are prescribed, and earlier there was an amendment and a relaxation was definitely given with extension of the date of invoice, because it was self-invoicing. So that benefit only was given. Later on, we all know that the amendment has been brought in. So I don't think RCM if any tax payment under RCM is made, amnesty scheme will be allowing the ITC credit for it. This is my opinion. You people can add on it. Garima and Asha.
Ma'am, I completely agree that amnesty scheme is allowing for waivers, and since the timeline, which is very important in self-invoicing, you have a timeline. So since the timeline has lapsed, so the credit may not be available in
Will
this.
not be. Yes.
Yes.
Rakesh ji, your question was, you have just added to your question that in SPL 02, it is not allowing proceed further if I selected applied for appeal. So basically, when you click on ki you have applied for appeal, you will click on yes. Then there is another question that whether you have withdrawn the appeal. For that also, you have to select yes. Then after that, it will, that will be allowed to, you can proceed. We have practically done for clients. There is another question also that whether you have withdrawn that appeal, so you have to tick it yes. I think you would be ticking no, so that is why it is not allowing you to proceed.
Yes, and in the documents which have to be attached along with it, you will have to attach even the appeal withdrawal letter if you haven't received the withdrawal order.
Appeal order.
Yes.
The application made requesting for withdrawal needs to be attached.
Yes.
If withdrawal order is not received. Yes. Understood. Next question by Ashish Ji is asking, we are filing appeal against order issued under section 73 for interest and fees. So he's asking whether we need to withdraw for both interest and fees. Like he meant to say whether appeal needs to be withdrawn for both elements, or he can proceed to withdraw only fees so that he can take benefit of interest waiver.
No, this point is also, I think, made very clear by Garima, saying that either you are completely into the this amnesty scheme or you are completely out of it. You can't say that for partial or for few points I will be in appeal and for few points I will be coming under amnesty scheme. That is not permitted, and amnesty scheme does not give you any benefit for fee waiver. So fees will have to be paid. The waiver is given only for interest and penalty part. So in case your interest is higher, then you actually come under this scheme. If interest is smaller and fee is more, you stay under the appeal. I think it will have to be a financial decision, but you can't get the benefit of both.
Yes. And the next question, I think we have already discussed that during the presentation.
Yes.
While SN has issued for 4 issues, contesting 4 issues, we have already given reply, and three out of 4 issues are already dropped. So he's asking whether amnesty scheme can be available for penalty, which was confirmed in the order.
There is in the order one issued upheld along with penalty. We have paid the tax for penalty if we go with amnesty. Basically, if you have paid the tax, then you can opt for the waiver for amnesty, waiver of penalty. Yes, you can go for amnesty scheme in this case.
No, I think what he's saying is we have paid the tax for penalty. So he's already paid the penalty.
The question is not clear, so if you can just retype whosoever Vivo 5G, if your name is not given here, so please retype your query. We are not able to understand.
Yeah, because if
4
penalty is
issues.
already paid, nothing will be refunded by department.
No, ma'am. He's saying that he has already paid the taxes with
I
regard
think
to
he's asking for
penalty.
penalty only. He's asking for penalty.
Penalty was only confirmed in the order. So regarding that, yes, he can proceed to
Yes.
take the benefit.
Yes.
Harikas is asking if appeal was pending with the appellate authority, then whether we can claim amnesty without withdrawal of such order.
No.
We can withdraw that appeal and proceed with amnesty.
Yes. It has to be withdrawn first.
And
Madam,
the next question is,
Madam, actually, I have a query, and in SPL 02, I have mentioned, no, if I select appeal is, sorry, we have filed for the appeal, then my query is like appeal order is already passed. So it is not allowing me to proceed further. So there is no question of withdrawal of appeal because order itself is passed. But in SPL 02, it is not allowing me to proceed further.
Can you also let us know whether that appeal order is being uploaded in the portal or is it manually given to you?
Uploaded. It is showing in
Then
the.
you can take that reference. It would be reflected in that portal itself. In drop-down list, you can select that appeal order ka reference. You can proceed with amnesty.
But actually, to proceed there in SPL 02, we have to mention whether appeal is filed. Yes, only, right?
As tribunal is not at form, there is no such question, right? You can't file an appeal before tribunal as on date. So it is pending only. You can
Right.
select that order reference number. You can proceed for filing.
Yeah,
That
the
is how it
reference
should be.
number. Yeah, the reference number has to be of that appellate order, right? That's what you're
Yes.
suggesting, Asha. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. And Harikrishna ji is asking again the same question. I think they are repeating it. Where demand order is related to penalty payment only. Now, for payment proof, what documents needs to be attached? As there is no tax payment. Rupali ma'am, can you take up this question? With respect to documentation, what needs to be uploaded in the portal?
Yeah, I'm
There is,
not able to see that question. Can you just read that out, please?
yes ma'am. Demand order is related to penalty payment only. Now,
Okay.
for payment proof, what document needs to be attached as there is no tax payment? He meant to say maybe tax payment has already been made after issuance of show cause notice, but penalty only they have confirmed the order. So, for that order related thing, what payment proof we can upload in the portal?
Uh, I
In
think
this case,
because
DRC03 through which they have made the payment, they will attach that.
yeah, the original one wherein they made the tax payment.
Yes. And the next question is by Kartika Namir ji. He has filed the DRC03 under the annual return, not as a voluntary payment. So it is not converting into DRC03. So what to do in this situation is asking.
There is a question for Kaleshwar Rao ji also. Department is issued, I think.
Regarding this DRC03 to DRC03A, can you also, why it's not being enabled to DRC03A, you can file that application in online.
Can you just repeat the question?
What he's asking is, he has made some payment while filing the annual return in DRC03 form. But not as a voluntary payment, he's saying. Now he wants to convert that into DRC03. Basically, he wants to file an application DRC03A, but he's unable to do that. So he's asking what to do in this situation.
Why it is not allowing? I think it would allow.
Yes, it will
DRC03
allow.
filter because it will allow. It will allow.
Yes, or I think a query will have to be raised with the help desk.
Yes. If any technical glitches or problem is there, you please need to contact with the technical team. Now, Kalpana is asking a question. We have a client who is not filing GST returns from 2017. So, if you're filing it now, what should we do? It's nowhere related to amnesty scheme. So, can we proceed to the next question? Kaleshwaroji is asking, department had issued DRC07 under section 73 itself, in which only interest has been demanded. Tax demanded was already paid at the time of GST audit, whether we are eligible for this scheme or not. In this case, how we need to link up the DRC03 and 3A in the SPL02 form.
So addressing to Kaleshwar ji's question, Kaleshwar ji, since we have already paid the tax and the demand has come under 73, so very well you can just avail the benefit of this scheme. And as a tax proof, you will just do the adjustment in 03A with 03 tax which you have paid. So practically, I don't think you would face any challenge while doing this.
Moving to the next question. It is by V. Sharma ji. He is asking, we have already made a payment through DRC 03, but while attaching it to DRC 03, it is not allowing us. And the message appears as DRC 03 filed with cause of payment select only as voluntary payment.
I think this
So-
question has already been addressed.
Yes.
CA Vigil questions, I think we need to address. DRC 07 was 77 lakhs.
Yes. CA Vizilji is asking, DRC 07 has been issued demanding 77 lakh, which was issued without considering any reply. And now the appeal is pending before the appellate authority for 17-18 period. So is there any time limit for appeal to be completed within 31st March so that we can avail amnesty scheme?
Vigilji, as at present, for closure of appeals, there is no such timeline. So for amnesty, but yes, there is a timeline. So it is advisable that you opt for early hearing. You just submit an application for early hearing, and you have to assess that whether you want to opt for amnesty or not. Matlab, there is no such timeline for closure of appeal. You can just submit application with the department ki you want early fixation of hearings, and the department are addressing to these letters. You can just give a reason that you are opting for amnesty, you want to decide for amnesty. So department is giving a look to these letters. So that is advisable from our end.
Yeah. And in case amnesty scheme is not given, then the original appeal gets restored. So it's not that the benefit would get closed.
Yes.